Hi and welcome to our latest edition of Get in the Habit podcast. My name's David Finch and welcome along to my co-host, Sue Allsworth. How are you doing, Sue? And we have a very special guest today, Eleanor Gladwyn. Hello, Ellie. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Good. Brilliant. Now, we know each other, but you and Sue don't know each other. So tell Sue all about you and what you do and how you help people and all that sort of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So Dave and I know each other through hypnotherapy. He actually was my hypnotherapist originally, and then trained me to become a hypnotherapist, which was amazing. So that's how we know each other. And poor Dave can't get rid of me now. That's it. He's stuck with me for life. So what I do in the main is hypnotherapy. I also do stuff like NLP and that kind of stuff. So hypnotherapy and coaching is kind of what I do, and that's who I am. Yeah.
And you're based in Wales as well, Eleanor, I take it. I've been surrounded, but I think there's something saying, move to Wales, Sue, move to Wales.
Yeah, you won't regret it. It's lovely here. It really is.
Somewhere you can live where you can actually say the place name in a day.
Well, yeah. Once you move here, you do learn to say the place names. Actually, I must admit, I used to be really confused because when you see the traffic signs, you get the traffic name in Welsh and in English. And when I first moved here, I used to think it was two different places, which is really crazy. Isn't it? Then I realised, it's the same place. One's in Welsh, one's in English. Because I used to look at it and think, where's that other place then? I've never been there.
You know what, Eleanor? I tell you what, where did we pick Dave up from?
I don't know. Bless him.
You've lost your receipt now. No, you can't take me back now. That's it.
No refunds.
No refunds. No, that's it. He's stuck with me.
Eleanor, the one thing that I want to talk about actually and mention before we go forward is we talked a little bit about this just before we came on air, because I'm really intrigued. For those that are actually watching on YouTube, behind you've got a map of the world. And you've just let us know that it's one of those that you scratch off once you've been to certain places. Yeah. So do you have a love of traveling? Have you had in the past, pre everything that's been going on, a habit of traveling? Is it a habit that you want to do when things are easier to do that?
A bit of both, really. Yeah. So I've been lucky enough to travel to some very unusual places. So I've been to Alaska. I've been to India, particularly Mumbai and Calcutta. I've been to Mozambique. I stayed at an orphanage. I went back again to the same orphanage to see if it was somewhere that I would want to be full time. I was going to be a missionary, can you believe it? Back in the day, in a previous life. Really, I didn't stay. I'm here. I'm in Wales. So I've been lucky enough to go to some quite unusual places. So yeah, I've done quite a lot of traveling to unusual places, shall we say, not necessarily touristy places, but also done the whole sort of holiday thing. Yeah, I'd love to go to Canada, Australia, New Zealand. There's lots of places I'd love to go. And actually they're on my vision board. So I'm waiting for the world to open up so I can get my teeth stuck into a bit more traveling. But I have no desire to go anywhere other than the UK at the moment.
Yeah, I'm the same. I can't wait till for the world to sort of open back up again and to do it. But yeah, at this moment, I'm with you. We're going on holiday. Well, Dave and I have got a week off in a couple of weeks. We're not obviously going away together, no. just to make sure that there's no risk in Dave.
A podcast holiday. That's it. We're going separate holidays. Yeah.
No getting into the habit of secret trysts going on here. But I'm looking forward to exploring the UK. Seeing your map there, I would actually like one of those scratch off ones, but just of the UK.
That would be good.
Yeah, I'm gonna hunt for one of them. There must be something. If not, there's a money making. If anyone's watching and wants to, get the idea for that. So in general, so you didn't get literally in the habit of being a missionary. So what habits do you do? What in your life, how does habits involve in you with your work? What have you got into or not into, especially over this last year?
Yeah, so Dave and I were talking about habits and stuff, and yeah, so I'm quite new to being self-employed. I think it's coming up for maybe 3 years, but it feels like a lot shorter than that in some ways. And I think particularly the last year is kind of like, it's almost been like a gap year, like a year of sort of, oh, what shall we all do with ourselves kind of thing. And so some of the habits that I've had to get into as a newly self-employed person are completely different to what you would as an employee. So, I was new to the whole sort of concept really of networking, for example. So that's something that I really got into when I first became self-employed, and actually just before I became self-employed, when I was waiting to be made redundant so I could be set free to go off and do my own thing. And so, yeah, so I kind of go to a few different network groups, usually the ones that are free, because when you're starting out, you don't really want to spend lots of money on quite expensive stuff. And what I learned from that was that you need to be consistent. So I went to the same ones consistently, and each time they were on, so that I could kind of get myself known and I could get to know other people, because it's really important to build those relationships, isn't it? That the people that you meet at one network, generally you'll see at several others as well, because everyone does the same sort of circuit. But there are different people in each one as well, saying that. But yeah, so what I learned is that people buy from people. So it wasn't on day one that I had a queue of people at my door wanting my services, but over time, as they got to know me and what it was I did, and sort of got to sort of trust who I was and that kind of thing, actually, it was a really good way of getting myself new business. So that's been really useful for me. And then sort of like as a side thing from that with the network, getting a support network was really important to me. So people like Dave, who is my guru, he's my go-to man. If I've got like, what should I do with this person kind of thing, I go, Dave, have you ever experienced this? He's usually got some pearls of wisdom for me. So having somebody that can be your sort of virtual team is really important, because I've always worked really in quite large teams or organizations. So I'm used to having lots of people around me who I can bounce ideas off and get that expertise from. So to be sat in a room on your own, sort of thinking, oh, what do I do with this? Can be quite daunting, really. So yes, so those are some of the habits I've got into, is making sure I've got that support network around me.
Strangely enough, I tend to do the same thing with you about, oh, Ellie, what should I do about this? And I'll pick your brains as well, because, you're kind of my support network now, especially working in the retreat, and it's like, oh, what do you think of this then? What should we do? So, if I'm not here, Ellie she's the boss, Yeah. Ellie, you mentioned earlier on about vision boards. Tell us more about that. I know you're big on the vision board. Tell us more about that.
So yeah, so that's something else that I've kind of gotten into for myself, vision boards, because as a hypnotherapist, visualization is a really important tool that we use with our clients, Dave, isn't it? So it's important that I use that as well. So yes, I've got a vision board that I've made, and it's kind of like, it's quite futuristic, I suppose, in a way. It's all the stuff that I really want to have and do and see in my life. So it's things like, places I want to go and how I want my business to pan out, and sort of every aspect of my life, really, so from a personal point of view, my health and fitness and that kind of stuff. So it's just outside the bathroom door on the landing, just out there. So every time I come out of the bathroom, I see it. And sometimes I just stop and kind of immerse myself in it, because I used to struggle a bit with visualization, if I'm honest, because I'm not a very visual person. So, as you guys will know, and people listening will probably know as well, we have lots of different senses, and we tend to prefer one or the other. It's not to say we can't use all of them, but we do tend to prefer one or the other. And I think for myself, I'm quite kinesthetic, so I like the sort of touchy-feely stuff. So I often stop as I come out of the bathroom and look at it and imagine myself, sitting on that beach, or driving around in that camper van, or sitting at that desk in my office, or whatever it might be that catches my eye that day. So visualization for me is very much using all of my senses to sort of, how will it look, how will it feel, what way I hear, all that kind of stuff. That's what I encourage my clients to do as well, is to really immerse yourself in that whole situation. So yeah, that's what my vision board is about. It's about me having a focus, I suppose, of where I want my journey to go.
Yeah.
I use we had Beverly Jones on a while ago talking about vision boards. My journey with creativity is basically a vision board book, workbook basically, and it is I'm quite my mind is very active in the imaginary world. I'm an only child, so I've had to use that mind and that imagination over the years to move from imaginary people to teddy bears to talk to my support network. I've got my support network in the corner there, which is my massive unicorn. But it is, and I've got a vision board that's sitting right opposite me at the moment that I showed her a few episodes ago, the one I did years ago in Wales, actually, my first ever one. And that has actually come to fruition for what it is. But it is that you mentioned that feelings, because it's not enough just to imagine it. You've got to emotionally connect to what it is that you are wanting to embody, embrace, and manifest into your life. And if you don't have my one tip I say to anyone, especially if you're doing a vision board, if you're not feeling it, don't put it on there. If you haven't got the goosebumpy feelings, almost that tingly, excited feeling, then don't put it on there. Don't force it. It's got to really be stuff that you want to look at, as you say, and then you can really imagine yourself doing that thing, being that place, and embracing and embodying it, so that your communication to the universe, at the end of the day, the law of attraction, there's nothing woo-woo about it. It is a law of the universe, just like gravity. You can't change it. It won't be anything other than itself, but it will happen whether you believe in it or not. So I love that idea of putting it somewhere, actually. So is yours like a cork board so that you can change it over and adapt it? How do you work when you want to sort of like tweak it?
No, it's not a cork board. It's a canvas, so it's all stuck on with Pritt sticks. But what we tend to do is kind of like once a year, take bits off that no longer really excite you, as you say, or that maybe have happened, and just update it, sort of thing. So and there are one or two gaps that I need to fill in, so there's space for me to kind of to grow it, if you like. And actually it was Bev Jones that you just spoke about that got me into vision boarding. So so I know Bev really well. She's another person that's another one of my sort of go-to people for business stuff. So I really enjoy just kind of like reminding myself. It's a good visual way of reminding yourself, isn't it, of what your goals are.
Being and work, I found them actually to be what I would call really good business plans. I'm not a wordy person. And I found, the Journal Journey with Creativity book, although it's a personal development one of the books I did turned out to be more of a business planning book, because that's where I was at the time, and it allowed me to visually sort of see where and feel where I wanted to go, what I want to be doing. And they're brilliant for all sorts of areas. For every single area of your life, you can have an individual one almost, can't you? If you want to focus on, a common popular subject would be love, wouldn't it? Let's face it. And have just a love board of what that love means to you, what a relationship would mean to you, So you can really tweak these vision boards, and they are more powerful as much as they, it's not just we're not just adults trying to pretend to be back at Blue Peter and trying to get our
I'm glad you said
back.
that. I'm glad you said that, Sue, because that's how it feels a bit to me. It feels a little bit like, I don't know, like I'm back in secondary school again, and they go, come on, get all these bits of, or probably in junior school, get all these bits of pictures and words and put them all on a board. And it feels a bit like that. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've never done that as an adult. never really sort of, done a vision board. And I know Ellie, you went along to, did you go to Bev's workshop?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I remember talking to Ellie about it. And she said, oh, vision boards. And it was like, you was raving about it, weren't you, at the time? And I was like, okay, yeah, it don't really do it for me. But maybe because I've never really done it. But I do get the idea. I get it, that you could look at this board all the time and see it and think, oh, I want that.
As Sue said, there's lots of different ways you can do it, isn't there? So Sue's got a notebook. Some people do it on Canva, so they'll just load pictures and stick it all on Canva. So there's lots of different ways that people do it. It doesn't have to be that you cut and stick. You can kind of just doodle or whatever it might be. It's whatever really is for you. So
you could just be that content with life that you are just exactly where you need to be, and you've got all that you need, not necessarily that but you're content. And to be fair, if that is the case, I'm a little bit, I'm actually in quite a content place, to be fair, at the moment. I would struggle to have big ideas on a vision board at the moment, because I think if anything, last year for me has just taught me to really just be very present with what I do actually have, I think, at the moment. And I'm still in that phase. I'll blossom back out probably in autumn, because I tend to hibernate inside. I'm the opposite to most people. It's like summer, Sue, where's Sue? Hibernating under a fan somewhere because she's melting. Right. And then in autumn and winter, I kind of blossom. And then that's it. So I'm the other way. It's really interesting because, Eleanor, being a self-employed and working on your own, certainly I find the vision boards are almost like that support person, that support team, that group, because you've got something looking at you, you've got a constant something. Oh, I don't like that. I talk to mine. I don't know about you. So it is, being self-employed, it isn't easy to get into new habits when you've been in a busy work environment.
Yeah. I think my vision board, having you both saying that about now, I think mine is in my head. I do have visions, if you like, and I kind of have plans about what I want and how I want to see things, but it's all up in my head, maybe it's that process then of putting it down on a board of some sort, or digital one, these days or whatever, that would create that for me. Now, Ellie, I want to ask you a question now. You mentioned you had a camper van on your one earlier. Now, Bev, when Bev was on, right?
Yeah.
She said that she had, what car was it? I can't remember.
Mercedes.
That's right. Yeah, Mercedes car. And now it's come to fruition. Yeah, she's got the Mercedes, right? So do you see it that one day you're going to be in that camper driving around,
Yeah, it's funny enough. I was looking at that this morning, came out the box and thought, and it's funny because some friends of ours have not long got a camper van. And it's lovely, and they've had it it was a van that they bought, and they've had it fitted out, as a camper van. It's really nice. But I quite often look at them, different ones that I'm going around, and the one that I'm always drawn to is actually the one that's on my vision board. And it wasn't until this morning that I thought, oh, that's the very one that I always look at and think, oh, that's nice, I like that. So I'd love to just downsize and just go off and travel. I'd love to go traveling. But unfortunately, my partner likes to come home after 10 days, so that's not really much. Can't get far in 10 days, can you?
Well, you could do 10 days and then do another 10 days, another 10 days. Keep doing 10 days at a time,
No, but you'd only get so far, wouldn't you? You'd never get very far.
No, I suppose not. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm working on that.
Yeah. So you could do hypno van, be a traveling, almost like a gypsy rose, and kind of go off and do hypno van.
I'm reading a book. It's fiction. I'm reading a book about van lifers. So they kind of, they sell up everything and off they go, and they follow a circuit around either this country, or sometimes they go abroad, and they follow a circuit. So they go to like all the festivals, foodie festivals, or whatever festivals that fit in with their whatever that is they sell. So I could do that. I could have a hypno van and go around to all the festivals and
So somebody I met years and years ago, probably, I don't know, 20 years ago, probably, maybe more than that. And we was at this campsite, me and my son, and we met this guy, and his wife had died. He was an older guy, and his wife had died, and he sold his house. He sold everything up, and he bought this lovely, beautiful camper van, big, real, you can live in it camper van, not a little Volkswagen thing. It was a great big thing, and all he did was tour around. He just drove around different campsites, different places. He'd been like loads of places all around the world. He wasn't just in this country, he'd get a ferry somewhere and do all that kind of stuff. And he would just travel. And he said, I never really traveled much. We got chatting with him, never really traveled much when I was married. He said, and as soon as my wife died, I thought, right, that's it. What am I going to do? I'm going to sit in the house, and just vegetate, or I can go out and do that. And it always stuck with me, that. And I thought, wow, what an amazing thing to do, just to get in a van and just have no house. No, you can't come home, can't come home after 10 days, that is it. He sold everything. He sold it all up, bought the camper van, and off he went. And I suppose he had a few quid in the bank, to see him over. And do you know what I mean? And I thought, how wonderful that would be.
Yeah.
Maybe after a little while you might get fed up with it, but who knows,
Well, you could always come back and find somewhere to live, couldn't you?
Yeah. And I think then, where would you come back to? He's done this amazing tour around, Europe and everywhere else, and as far as he wanted to go. Where would you call home after that? It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny because quite often home is still home.
Yeah.
Even however many times and miles you move away, hopefully one day we'll all be able to safely travel the airs and seas again.
Yeah.
But until then, I do, as you say, Eleanor, stay safe and stay in the UK and enjoy. So there's so much to. I don't know if either of you. We're going away, only a couple of hours drive, so that we haven't got to stop off anywhere and all of that sort of thing. But we've been doing for quite a few years now this thing called treasuretrails.co.uk, I think, or .com, one or the other. And they've got them all over the country, Scotland and Wales, I think, as well. And you can either get the online one and print it off yourself, or you pay and get the little booklet sent to you. And it takes you around little villages that you wouldn't necessarily go to, that it's on a treasure trail, like a murder mystery or something, but you've got to go around looking for clues in this place. So it sends you on a little, you always start at a car park, so there's always somewhere you can park, and it will take you on generally sort of like an hour to 2 hours, a sort of a walk, sort of a 1.5 2 mile little walk around.
Oh, amazing.
And so they're a really good little habit to get into in the UK for holidaying staycations, as they say.
I was going to look at that, see if I can find one where I'm going on holiday.
Even locally, we've got, if they've got some locally, I did one in Faversham, which is probably about 40 minutes up the road from me. So I say local, but it is Kent still. But you wouldn't have walked. If I'd just gone to Faversham, I would have walked up and down the high street. I wouldn't have ended up all around the back streets and everything. So they're a fun little summer thing to do there. There's my little pearl of wisdom for the day.
Excellent. Ellie, it's been lovely talking to you today. Thanks for joining us. And scratch off some more of that bald behind you.
I'm going to see if I can find a coin and do it today.
Yeah.
Used to do it for ages.
Yeah.
So if people want to get in touch with you, Ellie, how can people find you? Where are you?
Okay, so I'm on Facebook. It's Eleanor Gladwyn, hypnotherapist and transformational coach, something along those lines. I can never quite remember exactly what I've called myself. Or my website is just my name, so it's eleanorgladwyn.co.uk.
Brilliant. We'll put a link. When we put it out, we'll put a link anyway. So if people do want to get in touch with you, they can do. And follow you around in your van. Yeah. Ellie, it's been lovely talking to you again. And I'll actually see you tomorrow.
Yes,
you're coming to the retreat tomorrow, aren't you? So I'll actually see you tomorrow anyway. Yeah. I'll see you then.
I'll see you when I get my camper van soon.
All right. So been great, isn't it?
Yes,
Lovely
as
day
always.
again, as always, chatting with each other. Excuse me. If you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love you to be a guest on the show. Get in touch with us. Again, in the show notes, either on YouTube or on our podcast channels, there's always ways to get in touch with us. So if you want to be a guest, we'd love to have a chat with you one week, and come and join us on Get in the Habit.
Find us on YouTube and Podbean and all other podcasting platforms that you can get. So Ellie, thanks ever so much. It's been lovely to be fair, when you first popped up on the screen, your lovely smiley face just brought a lovely smiley face to me today and warmed my heart. So it's been a pleasure to meet you. And yeah, take care everyone, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.